Good afternoon and welcome to Bay TV Business Extra. I'm Robert Llewellyn-Jones and my guest today is Dan Langford, Marketing and Communications Director for Acon, one of the UK's leading recruitment agencies. Dan, you are here today to talk about Wales Week in London and the Swansea connection. So, what's it all about?
Okay. Well, Wales Week in London was an initiative a partner and I developed at the end of last year and was launched in the Wales office in early December and kicked off just at the end of February for about a fortnight period around the time of St David's Day in London. We had about 57 different events and activities, part promoting Wales and Welsh products and Welsh organisations, and part celebrating really and commemorating Wales sort of in the spirit of St David's Day. And these activities happened all across London, and they included some business-orientated events, some arts events, some book launches, dinners and the celebration of Welsh food and drink and so on and so forth. So quite a sort of comprehensive mix of activities, and the idea being quite simply that if we can make a bigger noise in London at a time when Wales likes to make a bigger noise around St David's Day and the celebrations of St David's Day, then we try and capture the sort of interest, the imagination of the 55,000 Welsh people in London as a vehicle, if you like, to get into London and promote our products, promote Wales as a destination, whatever the purpose might be. And I got to say, the response we had from the Welsh community, from organisations in Wales that used the fortnight to get into London was absolutely terrific, really, really impressive.
Now, the Wales Week in London starts when, Dan, exactly?
Well, it's around that 2 weeks from the end of Feb through to the beginning of March. So I think in 2018, it's around the sort of 24th, 25th of February until about the 9th or 10th of March.
Now, what's the message to businesses here in Swansea? What can you tell them? How can you encourage them to perhaps take part in this?
There's a number of things. If, as part of their sort of current development planning, they're looking at how can they get into London, then this potentially could form part of that promotional plan, if you like, this sort of engagement plan. So if they want to put on an event, whether it's a reception or a lunch or whatever it may be, to engage a sort of a strategic group of influencers that they've identified, then if they want to do that event, we can help them promote the event, attract people to attend, whatever it may be. And there's no cost to that. We're not asking for any money. We're just trying to build this program of activities over that period to be as comprehensive as possible. So if anyone wants to enter into London, a Swansea-based business wants to get into London, this potentially is a good avenue for them. They could build on that. We've got a sponsorship arrangement available, for example. So for the 6 months building up to, so really kicking off in a couple of weeks' time, for 6 months, through our various communication channels, we'll be promoting that organisation, that business, to its audiences, to a very good focused database of those Welsh people in London who, of course, we know majority of those are sort of professional people. Through our channels, we'll promote those organisations. But that's a sponsorship arrangement which is slightly different. But if anyone just wants to get involved and they want to do something and do their own promotion in London during that period, we'll promote it for them and help them. And it's not a commercial thing at all.
How is the response from the Wales Government in Cardiff Bay and perhaps local authorities? How have they supported you in the venture?
Well, I have to say, both the Welsh Government and the Wales office have been fantastic. So we couldn't have achieved nearly what we did in a very short. The whole thing was developed in a 3-month window from an idea to having full website and collateral, and then coordinating and creating this umbrella brand to promote all this activities was done in a 3-month window. We couldn't have done that without the support of the Wales office and the Welsh Government. And that's set to continue for next spring. So both parties are on board, both governments are on board, and they're both working very hard to really, see how they can maximise it to its full. So that's brilliant. It's brought a great energy and great credentials really to the initiative. We've also got a load of other sponsors on board, commercial sponsors on board. In the Hugh James, for example, a law firm. We've got up the road from up here, we've got Burns Pet Foods, and then there's GE Aviation. Last year we had Flybe in Cardiff Airport, and so on. So there's a number of sponsors that have come on board as well. And without them, we wouldn't have been able to have done as much for those for that programme of events and activities that we've done. So very good comprehensive support, and it's growing all the time. I mean, Swansea University School of Management were a brilliant partner last year. I've had meetings with them in the last couple of weeks, and their involvement is fantastic. They're really enthusiastic about it, and they want to leverage the opportunity for a number of reasons, totally aligned, not just to their own objectives, but to the objectives of the region as a whole, as Swansea University are playing an integral part of that whole Swansea Bay sort of regional development.
So there is an academic involvement in this, in Wales Week in London?
Yeah, through Swansea University, yeah. Yeah, specifically through their School of Management, but as you may know, that School of Management has other sort of tentacles and things as well. So, and they've been great. They're a great partner.
Good. So, looking ahead, Dan, what is your message? How do you see the economic climate so that you can interpret perhaps the events that are coming up against the background of the economic environment here, which your company is very much involved with? Well,
I think it's quite fortuitous that, my day job, if you like, as a director of a leading recruiter, I get a real good sense of what's happening around the economy, particularly the labour market and things to do with productivity and innovation and skills and so on, because, Acorn as a business is at the sharp edge of all of that, dealing with clients across a range of sectors and looking for a range of skills. So that does help inform the sorts of events and activities that we try and introduce into the Wales Week in London initiative. So we have a partner in London at the moment who's a guy from Pembrokeshire. He's an MD of his own business in London that's in the construction sector. And we're working with him about how can we get together the supply chain in construction, whatever that may mean, here in Wales, to meet potential business partners in London. And he's working on that as an activity. We did a similar event last year in the legal sector, where we had Welsh law firms attend an event to meet London-based law firms. And the message from us was, why not use more of the Welsh law firms to do a lot of your activity, a lot of your work, because actually you get better value for money than using your own staff in London. So we've got the construction, we've got the law theme. We did an event with the Wales Chamber of Commerce, jointly with the London Chamber of Commerce, and it was all deliberately designed to facilitate the introductions of Welsh business people with London-based business people. And that law event and that Chamber of Commerce event, I can tell you, were packed. So it wasn't a negative message going to London-based businesses, do you want to meet potential supply chain, potential partners, suppliers from Wales? It was packed. Both those events were packed, and they came to the initiative quite late. As I said earlier, the initiative itself was done in a very short time frame. So those particular events had a very short run-in. And we had waiting lists for people to attend. So there is definitely a market there in London that's interested in hearing what we've got to say. And there was definitely an appetite this end in saying, right, I want to go and tell them. So, we were really delighted. And both those events are going to happen, but bigger and better next spring.
So this is not, then, Dan, to get the message over, this is not a Cardiff-centric event. It's a pan-Wales.
Oh, absolutely. This is about how do we make noise about Wales? The word Cardiff doesn't come into it. How do we make noise about Wales and anything that Wales might represent in London around the period of St David's Day? And I've had a very good meeting with a leader of a council in London who happens to be Welsh, and she's helping me engage with leaders of all the authorities in London to say, what are you going to do next spring to say Happy St David's Day, to commemorate and celebrate and engage with your Welsh community in your particular local authority. And I've got no reason to believe that the majority of them won't go, yeah, we'll do something. Because I'm not asking them for anything. I'm not asking them for any money. I just want them to say, raise the profile of Wales around this key time for us. That's all we want. And say Happy St David's Day to that part of your community. So there's lots of things like that happening. They're all sort of soft engagement pieces, if you like. But that's great because that provides a context then Wales, whatever that means, can go in and try and build on it and try and leverage the opportunity.
In the wider context, Dan, how do you judge the economic climate here in Wales? From your perspective, sitting where you do.
Yeah, OK. There's a lot to do. If that's my sort of opening gambit, if you like. There's clearly a lot to do. And, you know, there are a lot of dynamics influencing how quickly we can respond to opportunities or deal with issues that might be affecting the economy here in Wales. And some of those dynamics are out of our control in a way. You know, they're European international, they're UK-led, they're policy-driven. They could be other reasons, Brexit and so on. But...
Well, let me stop you there now because we're out of time, but I think we get the message.
Thank you.